Alrighty, so I think we're going to get started with our next session, which is our upper year panel. So welcome to Get the Insider Scoop. As mentioned earlier today, our mentorship program is called the Innis Insider. So all of our mentors are our insiders. Our goal is to give you the inside scoop on what life is like here at the University of Toronto and at Innis. So we have a few of our insiders here today to share their experiences and answer your questions in this panel. We have, I'll let them introduce themselves, but we have Emma, Jenna, Kiera, Riley, and Elias, and then we have even more insiders joining us for our breakout rooms later. So there are lots of stories to share, so thank you for sticking around. So just so you know what's coming up, a little bit later, we're hanging out all together in this panel now, then later, we're gonna be splitting off into breakout rooms. For now, please send any questions that you have for our insiders directly to Maddie Frost, our Assistant Dean of Student Life. You'll see in the chat, she's got like submit questions here, so it's very clear who to send them to. So you want to direct those questions to Maddie, and then she's going to send them to me so that I can pose them to our insiders. As was noted before, if you continue to have any academic questions, please keep like sending them in the chat for our registrar team to address. We can just keep that going during the panel. So when you send in your questions, we just want to please keep in mind that these mentors are here to share their experiences. So any specific questions that you have about your own like unique situation can be saved later for our breakout rooms. When we split off into talking about things like getting involved in different areas, about living in residence and commuting, these insiders, as well as Sana, Maddie, and myself, will be available in these breakout rooms to answer more specific questions or to redirect you to the appropriate resource. So for example, I was seeing lots of questions in the chat earlier about residence applications. So while Shivani and I will be in that residence breakout room, we really encourage you to reach out to residence.innis@utoronto.ca to inquire about your unique application. So to get us started with our panel, though, I'm going to have our panelists briefly introduce themselves. They're going to share their name, their preferred pronouns, their year and program of study, and the leadership role that they hold in our community. So feel free to start sending your questions to Maddie so we can start our panel after introductions. But I'm going to ask that Emma start us off, and you all know the drill. Please just popcorn it off to the next person for our introductions.
Hi everyone, I'm Emma. I introduced myself earlier, but I'll go again. I'm going into my 4th year. I use she, her pronouns. I'm majoring in religion and minoring in English and Spanish. And around Innis, I am this year's orientation coordinator. And I am also the Innis College Student Society president. I'll pass it to, sorry. I don't remember who is on the
That's
panel.
cool.
I'm so sorry.
No worries. That's okay. Jenna, can you go ahead?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Jenna. I use she, her pronouns. I am in my 4th year here at U of T, and I'm doing a double major in bioethics and health studies. And I am an Innis Insider, so that's the mentorship program that Student Life Portfolio from the Office of Student Life in Innis College is running. And I will popcorn it to Kiera.
Hi, everybody. Can we hear me? Yeah? Okay. I'm in my 4th year as well. I prefer she, her pronouns. I'm studying a political science major, and I have a double minor in diaspora and transnational studies and Spanish. And my role also, similar to Jenna, is an insider here at Innis, and today I'll be talking about community involvement. I don't know who goes next.
That's cool. Riley, can you go ahead?
Hi, can everyone hear me? Great. My name is Riley. My pronouns are she, her. I am also an insider. And I think that's pretty much it. Yes, I guess I can pass it along to Zion now.
Hey guys, what's going on? I guess Maddie gave me a slight introduction, but hi, I'm Zion. I'm going into my 2nd year. I go by he, him pronouns. Also part of the Insider. I'd like to think I kind of mandate all the music stuff, but that's unofficial. Um, but yeah, uh, Deanthi, I also don't know the list, so.
That's cool. We just have Elias left.
Hello, everyone. I'm Elias. I use he, him pronouns. I am a second year in Rotman Commerce, and I believe that's it.
Awesome. Thank you all. So this is our panel. Thank you for sending your questions in. Maddie's already messaging them so we can get started. I just want to start off with a question about if you have not heard from your mentor yet, is there anyone that you can contact about this? You absolutely can. You can please contact like Maddie or myself. You'll see our email addresses in our Zoom backgrounds. You can also contact Student Life. Perhaps Maddie can put the that email address in the chat. So please let us know. There we go. Paul's on top of it today. So please let us know if you have not heard from your mentor. You should have received an email from them on Tuesday, on the 15th. So you can check your inboxes for that as well. But if you haven't heard from them, please let us know. So we're gonna get started with a really hard-hitting, important question that I'm going to throw it off to Jenna. Jenna, are there any good places to get bubble tea on campus?
Oh my goodness. I can't even count all of the places there are to get bubble tea. I think there's like at least 5 within a 10-minute radius. So if bubble tea is a concern, I promise you they've got it covered.
Perfect. Yes, thanks, Jenna. So many great places to get bubble tea and just food in general on campus once you get here, and you'll be shown during orientation. Absolutely. I'm sure it'll come up on a tour because bubble tea is popular. Okay, next question. I'm going to throw it off to Riley. Riley, how did you manage to make friends in your first year? Do you have any tips or tricks?
Well, I was very enthusiastic to make friends. And so I was really drawn to finding friends through extracurriculars. So as I'm sure will come up many times over the course of this panel, I've been involved with CINSU, which is the Cinema Studies Student Union. It's one of the many wonderful course unions hosted at Innis College. I've been involved with them since my very first year. So I ran for their first year rep position, did not get it, but they invited me back to do social media for them. And that was sort of like the start of my social life at Innis. That's how I made a lot of my friends in and around the college.
Awesome, great advice. Thank you, Riley. Next, Emma, how do you recommend getting involved in extracurricular groups?
Yeah, that's a great question. There's so many ways to get involved. I would say definitely checking out the clubs fairs that happen around orientation. So there will likely be an Innis focused one during that 3-day orientation that we were talking about. That'll tell you all of the Innis clubs, such as the Student Society, Art Club, there's a choir. And then additionally, the university student groups also have a separate clubs fair. So there's plenty of other clubs to get involved there too. I would say just keep an eye out, come to orientation, you'll hear lots about it. And then, yeah, just really put yourself out there, and there's so many ways for you to get involved.
Yeah, you'll hear lots more about it in our breakout rooms, but very true. Thanks, Emma. Next, Elias, could you tell us a little bit about how difficult it was for you to balance your academics and a social life?
Well, I mean, for us last year, of course, it was online. So it was a little bit more difficult because, when you're inside and you can't really go outside and talk to people or see your professors, your friends, it does get difficult. So, I mean, personally, I joined these, there's like Discord groups, there's WhatsApp groups, just people in your class, you just get to talk to them, ask them, just get to talk to them and basically know what they're doing and, spark these conversations with the people in your class or in the same college as you or whatever. And that really helps you kind of just get that little bit of touch of like social life.
Thanks, Elias. Yeah, as mentioned earlier, we'll get into things like Adulting Week. These are things that the Student Life portfolio helps to support you all with, because balancing academics and a social life is definitely a learned skill that you will you will come to practice throughout your first year and beyond. This one I'm going to ask, it's kind of specific, so I'm hoping someone that has the experience can jump in. I don't need to take Chem 135 or 136, but I'm wondering if I should take them. Does anyone have any experience with taking these courses?
What are the course names?
CHM 135 and 136.
I've taken them, but I'm also not in life science anymore, so I can't really speak to like how much they're going to serve you in upper year courses. But I think it would depend on like how much you did in high school, because Chem 136 is probably the equivalent of about like second or third year organic chemistry at another university. And like, that's not to be intimidating, but it's just fact. It's a pretty challenging course. So like if you're really good at Orgo and have a full understanding of it, then maybe not. You could take like a transfer credit or something, but maybe you feel confident with Orgo, you want to do it again, want to learn more, like then I'd say maybe.
I'm not sure if we're moving on from this question, but when I entered my first year, my plan was to take one life science major, one humanities major. So I took Chem 135 to kind of get on that track and absolutely despised it. I think I lasted maybe 4 weeks in that course. And the point is to say, if you're enjoying it, and it's not a requirement for your desired program or major, like, sure, go ahead, stick with it. And if you're not, you can remove yourself from that situation and you'll still be okay.
If anyone has any more specific questions like that, you're welcome to find Jenna and Kira in our breakout rooms later to chat a little bit more like in a smaller group about that. But thanks for that question. Next, Kira, I think I saw in the chat, it's flying for me, but I think you saw briefly address it. Do you have any advice about the best gym on campus?
Ooh, okay, that's definitely a subjective question. It kind of depends what you're into. We have Gold Ring, which is like our fanciest gym. It's like the varsity gym kind of thing. It's usually pretty busy because there's a lot of people in there, but great facilities, a lot of free weights and stuff. So if you're someone that actually like has a bit of a base in weightlifting, that's a good place. Heart House is the second one. That's actually where I work, but it's pretty like beginner friendly as well, because we have like those like 20-minute like circuit workout machine things. I find that there's just, yeah, a lot more like classes and group participation and stuff there. And then we also have the AC, which is kind of like a mid-range thing. Like there's a really great pool there and lots of free weights and stuff, but it can also be busy. So I think the best gym, it really just depends on like what you're looking to get from your workout, you know, like am I like gonna lift some big barbells and stuff, or just go like play paddleball? Yeah, it really depends.
Cool, thanks, Kira. I'm a big fan of Heart House personally, but yes, it's definitely like total preference, and I hope you all have the chance to explore all of them. Next, I have a couple of residence questions for you, Jenna. So one, what are the common rooms like? And then two, if you can speak a little bit to meals, so like how you handled meals.
Yeah, absolutely. So in the residence, there are, I think, 6, that's just me jumping off the top of my head, main common rooms. So on the second floor of the residence, there is a games room with like a pool table. Sometimes there's foosball, etc. And then there's also a TV room, which has a large TV and lots of chairs. On the fourth floor, there's another sort of games room study space with the large TV and a few tables and couches for studying or just playing the games. And then there's the fishbowl, which is one of my personal favorite rooms, which is just like a lounge area with a big like under the sea fish mural in it. And then we also have the music room where there's a piano and there's some chairs. And then what am I missing? We have the events room, which is down in the lobby, where are usually events, or during the exam season, you'll find people studying. They're usually always in, did I say the games room? Yeah, there's a games room with pool table. But yeah, you'll usually find people studying in the events room during the exam period. And then I guess in terms of the common rooms within each suite, there's just kind of like a lounge area. There's big windows, some chairs for residents to hang out. I love the common spaces. You can always walk by, see someone in them, make a new friend. And then in terms of cooking, yeah, so Innis residence is a suite style or apartment style residence. So we don't have a meal plan or a dining hall. Most students I find come in being absolutely terrified about having to cook for themselves, but somehow just make it work. That's definitely how I did. I find most people do cook for themselves, or some people really like takeout. That's a good option for them too. But usually, if you're not comfortable with that, you can purchase like supplemental meal plans through the U of T food services. I believe you can use those at the dining halls at University College, which is a really short walk away from Innis residence, and at New College, which again is like maybe a 4 or 5 minute walk from Innis residence. So I hope that answered some of those questions, but let me know if there's anything else.
That was great. Thank you, Jenna. And yes, we do have like a separate residence breakout room later. So please stop by in that one if you have lots more residence questions. But next, Riley, I'm hoping you can chat about what you think is the best library on campus.
Oh, well, hands down, it has to be the Innis Library. I like it's the best. I know that there are some upcoming renovations, so if you can get into the Innis Library before those happen, I highly recommend it. It is such a cool space. I used to be really scared of libraries before university, just because they were so big and there were so many things. And I don't know, for whatever reason, I never had good experiences with librarians before. But Kate Johnson, the Innis librarian, is an absolute gem. She's so eager to support Innis students or students in any of the Innis College affiliated programs. So cinema studies, writing and rhetoric, urban studies. The space itself is super cool. It's like, she likes to describe it as like a spaceship. So there are like different levels within levels. So it's really cozy. It's really nice. But if you're in the mood for like something bigger that has more like designated quiet spaces, I really like the Pratt Library. That's Victoria College's library. They have like some nice carousels and things in there. But it really depends on like the kind of space that you want, the kind of materials you want to access. I think that if you are really anxious about, doing research or accessing resources, Kate Johnson is a really great person to reach out to. And she can also point you in the right direction to other libraries if she can't help you with whatever it is that you need.
Perfect. Yeah, like the gyms, lots of libraries on campus, huge library collections as well. So all sorts of places to explore on campus. I have another question for all of you actually. So please feel free to just like hop in whenever your fellow mentor is done. But if we can kind of chat about some study habits for university level courses, what are some things that all of you have learned in terms of studying and preparing for class?
I can start. So I had a pretty rough time. I wasn't really good at studying, and I figured that if I studied hard, I would just end up sort of isolating myself. So I got really good at multitasking as well as sort of organization, where I knew exactly when to stop, when to start, and if I feel like I've reached a roadblock, I'll just watch YouTube for like an hour, and then a word might, like someone could say a word, and I'll just pop right back into writing. Just either or, find a good balance between working and seriously taking a break, because you just get overloaded really quickly if you don't.
To go on that question as well, I'd say organization is like the key to success at U of T. Personally, I always have a little planner with me. Literally, even in this meeting, it's here. I always have my syllabi planned out and all the dates for submissions, no matter how big or large, or big or small, sorry, like written in my agenda throughout the semester. So I kind of have it planned out so I can see like over the course of those 12 or 24 weeks, like what kind of work distribution I'm going to see. And yeah, that's my first tip. I'll come back for more maybe.
Yeah, I find it's super, super important to be aware of what environments you work well in and also to let yourself have breaks. So I know that I quite like a cafe type setting or like a little bit of noise. If there's complete silence, I get distracted. But I also know that I need to be focused, and I'm the kind of person who would be writing a paper and then open a tab, and all of a sudden I'm looking at pictures of turtles. So like it's like I have a Chrome extension on my browser that blocks me from opening any new tabs, and to keep me focused, I like listening to cafe sounds. I like studying in the mid-afternoons, like late nights. So I know those are the things that make me most successful. So I try and set myself up for success whenever I'm trying to do things. And then in terms of taking breaks and being regimented, I have a study timer on my iPad that I like to use. So it reminds me to take a break, whether it's like every hour, every 30 minutes, just to know, get up, stretch your eyes, not to burn yourself out, and to make sure that every task you're completing, you're like at 100%, you're not running yourself low. So yeah, just knowing what works well for you in terms of study environments and knowing your body and your mind and when you need to take breaks.
If I can just pop in here with a follow-up for those that haven't answered yet, does anyone have any tips about countering procrastination?
I guess I can start off and say something that I found really kind of helpful is setting certain goals. So something like, well, I get distracted easily. I mean, especially when studying, like I can't focus on one single topic for more than about 20 minutes without having to do something or move around or something. So I'd set goals like, okay, I'll finish the next 3 paragraphs, or I'll read the next page, or whatever it is, before I go take my little 10-minute break. And, you know, setting these small little steps to really feel like you've actually accomplished a lot of work can not only help you, you know, organize your work, but also feel like you've actually put the work in, put the effort in, and it can make you feel like you actually like trust the work that you put in.
I just wanted to jump off of what Elias said there. Breaking down your tasks into smaller tasks is actually a really great strategy for accomplishing like big papers or big lab reports, whatever it might be. So like in your planner, however you like to do it, break it down into like small defined tasks. Don't just be like, oh, work on essay for Paul 101. Say like, do the Donaldson reading and Zion's reading and this, and then like write essay outline. So you're not just kind of twiddling your thumbs for like 3 hours in the library and then being like, oh, how come I didn't really get much done? It's a lot much more productive. Honestly, I feel like better for your sanity to really break it down and make it digestible like that. And I think that definitely makes a difference no matter what you're doing.
Yeah, I think in a similar vein, I think that blocking off certain parts of your day, or kind of like making like a study schedule for the week has been really helpful for me. So typically I have my classes in the afternoon. So I'll typically get up in the morning and maybe do my readings for that class ahead of time, or I'll do my readings for the next day in the morning so that I'm like prepared and ready to go. So really like blocking off particular like parts of your day to do specific tasks, I think has been really helpful for me, especially when classes have been online, because I'm spending so much time staring at a computer. I want to make sure that there's time when I'm not staring at a computer. So blocking that off and making sure that, you know, I'm like really strict and staying on top of my schedule has been really helpful with me.
If I can also just add, I think everyone made really great points. So I'll just say, if you are struggling with figuring out how to like manage your workload or like what method works best for you, Innis does have a learning strategist. Maybe we can pop that their contact in the chat. Definitely reach out. It could be very helpful to see what would work best for you and have someone else kind of work through that with you. Yeah, so that's definitely a helpful resource that's available to you.
I have a quick one to go off of Emma's again. Things just come back when we start the ball rolling here, but learning strategists are great. I remember like we're in humanities, I guess here, so life science and stuff as well. They help you like plan out when you need to review for like Bio 101, all those terms and stuff. So they'll help you like actually figure out like drafts of when you're supposed to go back and review material. It's kind of strange, but it works. Yeah, but the learning strategists, they can also help you with like resumes and essay writing and like all kinds of things like that. Like I've gotten on calls with them and just like worked on applying for resumes. So just to add that point, that there's a lot of resources that you can always kind of go back to, and they're going to help you very broadly.
Thank you for all those great tips, everyone. I hope that was helpful because it is a very central part of the student experience. And yes, I just really want to echo everything that Emma and Kara were saying about our learning strategist. Megan Littlejohn, she is lovely, an absolutely very kind human being who is really great at supporting you with learning how to track your readings. Time management, procrastination is something that we all learn to deal with. So definitely keep an eye out for the Academic Success Center learning strategist and Megan Littlejohn specifically for Innis. So many questions. Okay. Emma, can you tell us a little bit about getting involved in Innis government? I know that there's a separate breakout room for that if you wanted to get into more detail, but maybe you can just give us a little bit of a teaser.
Yeah, for sure. So in September, actually during orientation, we will have our by-election forms open up. So there, for first year positions, there are there's the commuter rep, the residence rep, Chestnut rep, if any of you are going to be living at Chestnut residence, and then an international rep. So those 4 positions are only open to first years. So encourage you to apply to run for one of those. Additionally, we have a whole bunch of other positions open. I can highlight a couple: social director, athletics director. Yeah, so lots of positions open in the by-elections, so that you'll have an opportunity to go to a democracy night where you kind of relay your platform to other Innis students. And then there'll be an election, and the results come out around the end of September. And then in addition to that, we will also be hiring a marketing director and a photo videographer. So there's plenty of positions that are available, but we will definitely be making the forms and everything available to you as you're starting class. So keep an eye out for that.
Thank you for that, Emma. And yes, if you have more questions about getting involved in student government, please drop into that breakout room when we start those soon. Okay, a question for everyone, maybe if a couple people can jump in. How much time would you say that student life has taken up throughout your university career? So maybe we can talk about what you've gotten out of student life and how much time it took.
Yeah, so I guess I can hop on that. So let's see. I'm going to talk about when things were in person, just because that was when it took up the most time. And so when I was in my second year, I was one of the special events coordinators for SINSU. So that was running socials and academic events and things like that. And so, on top of the weekly meetings that I would have with my exec each week, or the executive, my team each week, which was typically an hour long or so, I would probably spend, I would say, however long the event was that week. So maybe 2 hours with that, and then just another hour just doing the planning and coordinating. Typically that was just running around and picking up food. That's always what it is. But so I would say that extracurriculars for me could be up to anywhere around 4 hours a week. And that would be spread out over however many days. But obviously it depends on kind of the intensity of the extracurriculars that you're doing. If you're in a leadership role, that's going to take up more time than if you're more in sort of support and social media and stuff like that. And so I think that if you're looking to get involved with, student life or extracurriculars or things like that, I think gauging sort of how much time you're willing to spend on that, there's typically going to be roles out there that will suit your needs depending on the organization that you're looking to get involved with.
Yeah, I'll follow right up after Riley. I would say my extracurriculars in my first year, I really did not know how much time I was willing to dedicate. So I took on kind of lower roles, entry level roles that would take maybe an hour to a week. And then realizing that those activities really enriched my experience. And it was so fulfilling to have activities or groups that I was passionate about outside of school that gave me skills. for the like real world, such as like writing professional emails, like reaching out to contacts or vendors for events, stuff like that. It was really rewarding in many ways. So as I realized I really liked them and it was giving me a lot professionally and personally, I increased the amount of my involvement. So I'd say now it's probably anywhere between like 5 and 10 hours a week, give or take anything that's going on. But extracurriculars are so important. I always say to any first year, if you're going to do anything, let's get involved. It doesn't only help you kind of keep your mind off school and keep balance, but it also helps you develop so much as a person and really helps you get the best out of your university experience. And if you are involved in things that you're really passionate about, you'll definitely find people who are passionate about it too. And you never know, you might make some of your best friends. Yeah.
Great. So I'm really happy to be hearing about all these questions about getting involved and even working. I'm seeing a lot going on in the chat about advice about working at the same time. And I know a lot of our panelists will have a lot to say about that. So we really want to move into our breakout rooms, but I have one last question for Kiera about like our work study. I saw you mentioning a little bit in the chat. So would you be able to touch on like working and studying at the same time and our work study program?
Yeah, so work study's been great for me. My experience has been like communications and research roles at the university. Yeah, I find that my supervisors have all been very accommodating and understanding to the fact that, yes, I'm a full-time student at the university and they're not going to overwork you by any means. And they're also very good at like checking in with you, being like, how's this workload? Like, how's this deadline? For example, like last week I had exams for summer school, and so I wasn't working as much, and they're flexible like that. And the work study program is actually really great. Explore it if you have the opportunity. There's a lot of modules and professional and personal development things that your supervisor will work with you on. So kind of like understanding how to operationalize the skills that you've gotten in work study and how to really like put those forth into your professional career or just your academic career in later years in the university. So I think it's definitely a really beneficial program. And I think there's some questions in the chat. Yes, work study students programs can extend to the summer, but that's only if you're taking summer courses. So you have to take a minimum of 0.5 FCEs in the summer to be able to be eligible for work study. And then, yeah, that'll last from May till August, depending on your contract. Yeah.
Thanks, Kira. And I really just want to plug Innis's specific work study team. It's a fabulous team. So many awesome positions available with the Office of Student Life. So keep an eye out for those and you'll have a chance to work closer with like myself and Maddie. We're really excited to welcome our work study team on in September.